So for those of you who don't know, my name is Sally Webb, and I have the joy of walking with people when things haven't quite gone right, or they're a little bit stuck, or whatever the journey might be, into complete freedom. It's like, let's get things sorted and let's release people into what they're meant to be doing. So Gretchen, do you want to share just a little bit about yourself and what you do before we talk about what we got up to?
Sure. Thanks, Sally. Well, I'm Gretchen Mitchell. I am a psychologist living in Australia. I have a husband and 3 children and a little fluffy dog. It's very cute. And I own my own business and employ some other amazing health professionals. And that's me. Well, a little bit of me.
Oh, I love that. And I love the way you've just played down quietly what you do. But that's amazing. I'm quite happy with that. It's just so gorgeous. This woman changes lives for many, many people and works with young people and just, again, makes them blossom and flow and flourish. So although we do it differently because we're gifted differently, the heart that we have is very similar. So that kind of leads me, I suppose, into another wee question of, where were you, or what were you looking for when we met?
I think I remember back to the day we met, and it was an overcast, drizzly, rainy day on the Sunshine Coast, which, the Sunshine Coast, we would hope that there's more sunshine, but you guys certainly didn't see it the day you were there. But I think that's a bit how I felt inside as well. I'd been probably through a bit of a barren couple of years. I'd been pushing things, working hard, and my husband's business wasn't really taking off. So I was bearing a lot of the weight of the financial stress, and I had slowly ground myself into the ground. I think, and I was gone through all the gears, and I was totally worn, and I was, maybe the tires had all been shredded as well, and the whole car was just grinding to a halt. And that was around about the time I met you. Yeah.
And for those who have no idea, my husband and I were visiting my stepson, or his son, and his beautiful wife and their new baby in Australia. So we'd gone to visit them. And the only couple that we had on our radar that Kiev is really good mates with is Gretchen and her husband, Chris. And so we had this trip to do to go and visit these guys. We went for lunch and we left at 8 o'clock at night. We so did not want to go. So just very, very, very funny. And so what made you decide, after hanging out with me, I'm sure that for most people would probably have put them off, but what made you go, actually, I think you're what I'm looking for?
Well, I realized that I invest, and I've been working in private practice counseling psychology for 17 years, and realized that I've invested myself and my life and my heart, like my passion, in all these people and their lives. And I was wanting the same for myself. Suddenly realized, wait a minute, wouldn't it be nice if someone invested in me in this way? And so that's what I was on the lookout for. And then you came into my house, and breath of fresh air. And I think the thing that I really love about you, loved at first sight, but also still love, was your passion, your energy, your just enthusiasm, and the fact that you were, slightly older than me, and like just fully living this and owning this like wild, crazy woman. And I was like, that's me inside, somewhere lost. But I'm like, oh man, here's somebody else that's actually doing and being like how I think I'm meant to be doing and being. But just, there's not a lot of really wild, fierce, passionate women out there that I aspire to be like. And I met you and I was like, yes. Was that the answer you expected?
Just quietly cracking up with laughter. I'm like, what the heck? I love it. Wild, crazy woman. And I'm not even going to go, well, actually, I'm
in a really good way.
Because one of the things that God's asked me to do is he says, I want you to run a conference in February. And he keeps saying, why women do and they don't regret it. And this theme tune keeps coming through my head. And I'm like,
there you go. God. Confirmation.
Yeah. But I look after men as well. It's not just, no, it keeps coming back, sister. So maybe that's our confirmation today, that actually I've just got to do what he's asking me to do in February. So anyway, well, that's a complete sideline to where you're at. Go God. So you sort of gave us a bit of a snippet in terms of when we met you that day, like it was, overcast and your wheels had kind of come off. So I'm guessing that that's kind of where we started the journey. But can you just give a little bit more about literally where you felt you were at that point in time when we started? When we started working together, kind of, I suppose, how you really felt from the inside, because as you said, like, oh, that's who I am on the inside. But obviously, it wasn't from the inside out, because it wasn't coming out. And you were like, oh my goodness. So where were you when we started working together?
I was pretty worn out, pretty worn down. I think I'd given up hope. I'd lost a lot of hope, not fully, but I'm pretty enthusiastic and very positive generally, but I had lost a lot of hope. And I think I had been waiting around a long time, and not wanting to run ahead of my husband, wanting to go together. And because that's really what I believe God's calling us to work together. But this kind of waiting. But I think in a way, some of my attitude may have been holding him up as well. So I was kind of annoyed, but also putting my own foot in it and causing part of the problem I was annoyed about. Imagine that. So yeah, sort of stuck in this place, not moving forward and burning out. And also there was a point I got to where I could feel in my body that if I continued pushing at the level I was pushing, I would get sick. And I had watched enough people and worked with enough people to know that I did not wish to go down that pathway. So it's like something has to shift.
You came and hang out with me. So love this. I love
something shifted.
I love it, because he calls me his firecracker. And so I get to ignite people back into life. I get people, those things that were on the inside for you, I get the honor of watching them come out as they should be, as they are, as they're meant to be. So okay, so that's where you started, and that's where we started the journey. So where are you now? What's happening?
I think as you know, but everybody listening doesn't, I also took 6 weeks off work sort of at the same time as we were meeting. And so that has also contributed significantly to help with the refreshing. But I think that I am, just in a completely different headspace. I'm motivated, I'm happy, I'm hopeful. My husband, who also did this journey with you, so we're on the same page moving together. I think, inspired, really blessed by your encouragement, your words, your just championing. And at the beginning, I remember telling you that I just wanted somebody to walk the journey with me, but someone to love me. And I've realized in life that I want the teachers of my children to love my children. I want people to love me. I think I want just love is so valuable. And I feel like that was so significant, the way you just loved me back to life, and occasionally gave me the hard work, which I'm happy with. I do that to the clients that I love and care for as well. And yeah.
Oh, that's so touching, because I believe that God has given me a heart for people, and he's given me his heart, not mine. And so that supernatural love that he has for every single person. And it's like, whenever, to see, and I love you dearly, but I love all the people that I coach with, and it comes from this real depth. And so I suppose it's funny, because one of the things I always worry about is I can be quite upfront,
overwhelm people with your lovingness.
Well, it's not just lovingness. Sometimes I can be a bit blunt. It's Yorkshire in me. I say it how it is. There's no filter with Sally. It's like, it is what it is. So I'm very blessed that we have done this off the cuff, and you have shared that I love you, but also I think part of the love, or God's love for us, is the fact that he will not reprimand us, but he'll just move us in a direction. If we're going in the wrong direction, he will guide us back in. And, I feel like certainly for many of the people, and you're one of them, sometimes I do get a bit worried that I've kind of gone a bit far, because I've been a bit firm. And it's like, well, hold on a minute, since when did I become the dictator? But it's like, but it is in love. It's not like
So
you've done
it's the
something wrong.
truth. And the truth sometimes cuts, but it cuts through things that aren't meant to be there. So it's a good cutting, even though it feels a little bit uncomfortable at times. Yeah, I'm grateful for it. Yeah.
So, do you think it's love? Do you think it's truth? What do you think it is? Okay, you've taken the time off. We've worked together, so it's not just. And that's the other part. I know with everyone I coach that we go on a journey from here to here. So in the 8-week journey, but it's not. It's things that happen outside of this as well. It's not just my coaching. So it like it's a combination of
Yeah.
everything that we do during that time. And often during that time when I coach, doors start to open that weren't opened before. And so it's not me because I am not the fix it. He's in charge. But it's kind of like other things start to happen. So what do you think got you from where we started to where you are now? Because it's a massive shift. Like I just see this beautiful, open, vivacious, you're on fire, you're laughing, you're full of life again.
Yes.
Kind of wasn't the beautiful lady I met. I could see that, but it wasn't where you were at that point in time. And you have to share some of the things, because I'm thinking of a couple that just come to mind that you've started to do, or some of the things that have been part of this journey where you've just popped and popped and popped. So doors have opened, or what's happened in this time?
Yeah, well, the first one that comes to mind is just taking on a eldership role at my church, and even just on Sunday, getting up and just releasing stuff and speaking and encouraging, and even the pastor this morning saying to me, "Man, you really like moved into a new, realm." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And Tony, you can remind me of some things. What else is coming to your mind?
I just the dancing.
Ah, yes. Yes, I used to do ballet when I was in school for 12 whole years, and then met my husband ballroom dancing. But then there'd been I feel like all of the joys and things that I did when I was young all got stopped. Maybe when I had children, and a lot of things shut down. And then like this, there's been all of these things have been unfolding again, working with young people and mentoring them and just loving it. Dancing. I did 2.5 hours on Tuesday night, Sally, and I fell asleep on my bed when I got home with the lights on and woke up like with the start. Like, what? I was so exhausted. It was amazing. But yes, I can walk today. It's very good. I'm loving it. Loving it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And actually, just because that's interesting, you mentioned that you used to ballroom dance with Chris. And I've seen visions of the pair of you dancing again together. And I feel like that's the season that you're coming into, whether you're physically dancing or whether you're dancing spiritually or whether you are dancing in the work that you do, because you are now together in the business. So there's been some massive shifts in that. But I don't know, is it like,
Well, with that, on that note, because your encouragement, I think I forgot to mention this at the start. I didn't like my husband very much, and I actually discovered when one of your homeworks was to have a date with him that I'd rather have a date with one of my children than with my own husband. And that certainly has shifted, which has been very helpful. Poor darling. Oh my gosh. But I made a decision and informed him, and then had to gently ask him, but if at future events, that if there was an opportunity to dance, that we should say yes, because we'd gone to weddings and people are dancing, we're just sitting there. But we went out to a gig and of some friends, beautiful, and did some dancing, and we went to a wedding and did some dancing, and it was very fun, rekindling the romance. Yeah.
and if you don't mind me sharing the vision of the rucksack and where the rucksack was. So I'm just going to share with everyone, because it's funny, because it relates beautifully. This rucksack actually I've seen quite a few times. So, but I saw this rucksack like that you would carry if you go camping. Now these guys are outdoors people. They do all this kind of hiking, go and do. Especially Chris, he's like out there doing stuff. And I saw this massive rucksack on his back filled with bricks. And guess who'd put the flipping bricks in there? His beautiful wife. And so it was like this process.
Thank you for telling everyone.
No.
this story.
And the good news is though, because it wasn't like we do this stuff without knowing. I think that's what's so awful, really, is you had no idea that that's where you were at, and that, bless him, that amazing.
He was carrying it. No wonder he was struggling to move forward.
Yeah. So this poor guy is like, like this underneath the weight. Anyway, the good news is he can now stand tall because she's taken every single brick out during this journey. And now, so what's happened is everything has been released. The pair of them, you guys are on fire in no uncertain terms. And what I love is there was nothing wrong with your marriage in the first place. Like there was nothing that you guys, I came into your home and I felt the love. And I felt the most incredible just warmth and tenderness in your home when I first met you. So it wasn't like there was anything wrong. It's like, but just a few of our own things that we then hold on to, and we get a little bit of stuff in the way. All that stuff we had no idea was there. We found it, got rid of it, released it. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. And now the pair of you are dancing together, working together. You've just got your business. I think it's limited now. Like there's so much that's opened up.
And we're working on 2 events at the end of the year for women, wild women as well together. Yeah. It's exciting. And also, I want everyone to know that if you do sign up with Sally and work with her, you will also have these beautiful, this accented voice in your mind saying, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. At various moments in your day, I'll walk around and I just have Sally's voice in my head saying something, and I love it. So cute. Just you didn't know that either, did you?
No, and I have to thank Anne Robinson for that. So she had a quiz show that she did in England, and when people when the lights went out, she said, "You are the weakest link. Goodbye." And it was just the way she said it. So thanks, Anne, for that. And it's funny because another client said to me, he said, all I see is you going, stop, stop. I said, I see your hand going up, going, stop the negative thoughts that he's got going. He said, it works every time. I see your hand. And you go, no, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. And he said, and then I go back in the other direction. So I've maybe borrowed that from her, but it seems to work really well.
It's great.
So to wrap this up, because thank you for your time, but if you were to recommend to anybody, or if you were to say, because lots of people have no idea who I am, and that's probably the thing, because for most people, actually, I'm too much. But if you were to say, like somebody, if you were to say to, who would you speak to and say that actually, if you're in this position, this lady is who you need to see. So who would it be? Well, how would you describe, or where would you describe where you were? Because you
I think someone who is feeling at the end of their tether, at the end of their rope, maybe someone who's feeling very disillusioned, maybe somebody who's feeling like they just don't really know which direction to go in. I think a lot of what you do is really personal development and awareness stuff. So if you're wanting to learn more about yourself and how you work, how you're shaped, and like how you're designed for like a purpose, a great purpose, then this is a great course, because this and you the thing about it is that you'll get so much, like you get fed a lot in a very short time. Like if we have an hour session and then you get a lot of feeding, and then you've got 1 week to kind of process it and do the homework. And and there's a lot of great stuff to digest. And I think like, you just can't help but be propelled forward. And like, if you don't want to move forward, if you're happy where you are, then this is not the course for you. But if you really want to move and you want to be encouraged in that and championed and have someone in your corner like cheering you on, then Sally is definitely amazing. And as a psychologist, I knew most of the material. I've used it myself or have learned it before, but it was still super valuable. And I chose to come, like Sally would be like, do you want me to do all this? Because you know this. I just chose to come like as if I didn't know it, and just to receive it again, because you can always learn something, even if it's something you think you know. Even in one of the questionnaires, I knew the 3 pillars or whatever that were my top 3, but I didn't know some of the things I learned, and the way that Sally did it was different from how I'd done it before. And so there were so many valuable things, and some things that I hadn't even ever done before that I really enjoyed. Yeah, or some things that I knew but just had never put in place or never put into practice, even though I knew I should. So, yeah, really good. I think there's something here for everyone. Even if you think you know it all, you will still get something valuable, many valuable things from it.
Bless you. And I just want to say, I haven't paid her to say that. Because, like, those are like lovely words. I'm like, oh, gold, gold.
That's true.
But do let me know how much I need to pay you for saying what you said. That's like gold. But on that note, I am just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Gretchen, for being honest, for being open, for sharing some of your journey, and for giving me permission to share some of your journey on your behalf. And I just put it out to anyone who is actually taking time to listen to this, that really, if you are in a space where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling broken, where you're feeling like actually you're burnt out and you have given everything, you have been a good person, you've given out and you've given out, and it's now time for you to be given into, then just give me a call. It's literally just www.inspiringperspectives.co.nz and come and join the most wonderful team. Be loved on, be lifted up, and go in the right direction for you.